Hi. So things have been a little bit intense here lately in Melbourne. We're currently in our sixth lockdown, and granted, it's not great. A lot of people's mental health is getting quite frayed by this point, and it's been a bit of a downer over the last couple of weeks, I would say, which is not great. Our vaccine rates are quite low in terms of other countries like the UK and the US, and because of that, we've just had to keep locking down quite often. I think now Melbourne is probably the most locked down city in terms of accumulative days all up, be at just beating London by like a couple of weeks, which not the greatest kind of score to get, I guess you could say, when it comes to this whole pandemic. And there's been global events as well that have been kind of offsetting a lot of mental health negative feelings around the world, from the recent UN climate report and the news from Afghanistan. It's just been a really weird, strange mixture of weeks where both the internal and the domestic and the global and the wider community news has really been getting to people like myself. I gotta say, I'm very sensitive by nature, and I think it's just been a lot. There's a few activities I've adopted recently over the last 2 years that have really assisted me in helping to get my mental health into a little bit of a better place. Some self-care tips, I guess, if you want to say. So number one on my list is tune it all out. And what I mean by that is this particular kind of thing. Our phones, the internet, we're stuck to it, glued to it every single minute of every single day, it seems like, even when we're sleeping. I imagine there's some of you out there who probably listen to those YouTube videos that have wave sounds or brown noise, or maybe not brown noise, but white noise or something like that to help to go to sleep. So even then in sleep, you can't evade it. And as great as technology is with helping to solve a lot of our problems, making things easier, all that kind of stuff, I think in terms of other aspects of social technology, revolving around social media, and constant notifications from news websites, everything like that. I mean, God, it just makes you feel less less in control, in my opinion, when you hear news from afar or even domestically. Being updated every minute by some blogger or journalist kind of thing. I mean, that's their job. That's the nature of the 24-hour news cycle. But that doesn't mean you have to be part of that news cycle or part of what this group here on social media is saying or what these people are saying on Twitter. And I mean, delete those apps. Just do it, even if it's just for a week or so. Because I imagine that some of you people out there, this is your job. I mean, I worked as a journalist. I work in communications. Like, learning how to use social media and putting out posts for a company is my part of what I do for a living. So I can't be ignorant of those things. Sometimes I wish I was, but I think in your personal life, that's the thing that you can control. I think it's really great to limit time on these apps and devices. You don't need to always be absolutely connected unless, as I said, it's your job, but in your own time, just feel free to let go. I mean, I think we're so abundantly glued into this stuff now, and companies dictate that that's the kind of way it is, and I think we've got to say no. My advice is to delete those things, even if you can only do it for a short time due to the nature of your work or just due to the nature of society. Some ways, it's the only way that I still keep in contact with friends is by using some of these apps and devices. So it's hard, but sometimes you need a little bit of that detox. So number two here is embrace your hobbies. This can be easier said than done depending what you do. Obviously, for some people, like sport group activities, something like a lockdown and COVID, well, you can't you can't do those hobbies. So maybe then it becomes about readjusting what those hobbies are. What's something you can do on your own or solo? For me, I'm not really into sport that much, but I am very much into writing, reading, making these videos that you're watching right now, and also playing my guitar and really getting a kick out of that. But yeah, because when you really have a hobby that you're really passionate about, you can jump into that state of flow that people call about, where you're really sucked into doing that activity, going through the motions with it, and your mind almost achieves a state of clear conciseness. It's like getting in the zone, as they say. I mean, that really does happen, and it can be a really good method for helping you out when you feel like everything else is bombarding you and you just want to chill out to do something that really means something to you. And getting into the flow of that, I think, is something that's really positive. So this third one is basically get physical. I'm something that I'm not particularly great at. I probably maybe walk 5, out of the 7 days in a week, for about an hour. Usually I go to my local 7-Eleven and grab these $1 coffees they have that aren't probably the best, but they're $1 and gives me a bit of a goal of somewhere to walk to. But I really feel that after that morning walk, I'm pretty set for the day. It kind of, that putting that one foot in front of the other and getting a bit of sweaty and, making it a bit of a brisk walk, because I have to I have to get back in time for work, all this kind of stuff. It does add something to you. I mean, they always, you've heard all these talks, and boost endorphins, you get a bit more energy, it just does all these things that really can help not just your physical body, but your mental state as well. And when I don't do it, I do kind of feel a little bit out of kilter, out of whack. And it doesn't set me up right for a day. So if I'm having a day of poor mental health, then I don't get to do my walk as well. I mean, it just compounds. I think exercise is really, really important and something that's really proven to be helping me. So for this last one, I think this is one of the more important ones, at least to me. It's basically talk to a good friend. And I mean like a good friend. Usually this person might be someone that you've known a long time, someone who you can tell a lot of things to, and they will just sit there and take it, even if you're being outrageous or silly or crazy, as it were, though I shouldn't probably use that word. But it's just someone who can really just sit there and kind of knows you so well to a certain extent that they're not going to judge you, or they're not going to attack you for feeling that way, which some people can. I just think it's really, really important. I mean, I've been really lucky that I've had a few good friends for many, many years, over decades really, that are very understanding when it comes to chatting to me about issues I have or problems I might be encountering or how I'm feeling in my head. And they really just want to make sure you're okay and make sure you're doing fine, which I hope that, I return to them when it's the situation is flipped. And it's also someone who can put up with your crap and to a certain extent, you know what I mean? And also then maybe pull you up when you're maybe going a bit too far, because I think that's important as well. But conversation with a good friend can turn a day I'm having where I'm just sliding downhill. It can make it go in the complete opposite direction, to be honest. And I think just getting that perspective, getting that understanding is more important than you might realize. So that's 4 ways that, the last year and a bit, and I guess even beforehand to a certain extent, that I've, taken steps to take care of myself during, periods like this where you can just understand everyone, like people in Melbourne here, and I guess across Australia, in like places like Sydney where it's quite bad with the COVID and Delta variant at the moment. It's just, it's just hard. It is just hard, no matter how good we have it compared to other countries in the world. I know there's always people worse off, but sometimes saying that doesn't make you feel any better, or doesn't give you the perspective you need to feel better. Sometimes you just need someone to hear you and to say, yeah, I know that sucks. That really sucks. Even if maybe it's not as worse as other people have it, because it's all perspective, isn't it? You only know the experience that you know in terms of having lived it. Even you can read about other people's experiences, but that doesn't give you maybe the complete insight that you need to really understand what it's like to live their lives. So I guess what I mean by that is go easy on yourself. It's okay, it's hard. The last couple of years have been really difficult. 2020 and 2021, and I imagine a lot of 2022 potentially might be a bit hard as well. So yeah, I hope everyone's doing fair and well. I hope everyone, if not happy, then know that everything's hopefully going to work out for you. It is a interesting time to be alive, to say the least. And I just hope everyone keeps sane and takes care of yourselves and your loved ones. And yeah, take care.